Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Kura, and on this channel we talk about everything that makes me feel beautiful, which is usually fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. And today we're examining the question, sis, is the luxury community toxic? If you are a person that buys luxury, talks about buying luxury, or just simply admires the luxury makeup and beauty community, it is possible that you've heard several things. You've perhaps heard things from friends and family like, how much did that cost? Or, girl, you're crazy for spending that much. That could have been a mortgage payment. Or, you really should have been investing these things as opposed to spending how much money you're spending on these, right? People always have something to say. People that don't understand what it is and why people love luxury, beauty, and fashion. The luxury community actually gets a lot of flack for spending money on frivolous things. And the thing that people in the community love is seen as frivolous, not important, and in many circles is frowned upon. It's interesting though, because recently KarenBritchiks made a video and she was showing her gorgeous Hermes Kelly, vintage Kelly purse. And you guys, I almost gagged. I gagged, but I almost died. The purse is beautiful. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put it below. But what in the world? I watched it twice. I paused it. I took screenshots. The purse is beautiful, and I am manifesting that purse in my future because I want it, and I feel like one day I will be able to have it. Anyway, that's besides the point. In her video, she discussed the fact that when people start talking about luxury purchases, people start to get a little weird about it. And she went out to say that she really doesn't have to apologize. She works hard for these things, and that's why she's able to afford them. So I very nicely left a comment, and I pretty much said, I love your purse, and it's so weird that people get so uncomfortable about other people's luxury purchases. And it's strange because Karen is a very high-low shopper. She would go to a thrift store and buy something for $1, and then she would wear it with this beautiful Hermes purse, which I think is fashion, right? And that's what fashion, to me anyway, should be. But after reading that comment and people liking it and agreeing with it, I really started to, or writing that comment, I really started to think about why is it that some people just get luxury fashion and fashion in general, and why some people detest luxury, beauty, and fashion. I think though, before we answer that question, we have to answer the question, why is fashion important? It's very interesting because we live in a world where, like I said before, fashion is seen as not being important. And people like Mark Zuckerberg, who's been quoted saying, I really want to clear my life to make it so that I have to make few decisions as possible about anything except how to best serve the community. So he kind of wears the same things every time you see him because he doesn't want to make that decision. That's one less decision that he has to make in his day. Or somebody like Steve Jobs, who wears the same thing every day, kind of for the same types of reasons. So we look at these people who are brilliant, and we look at these people who are successful and really think, like, is something wrong with me? Am I doing too much? Even somebody like Alicia Keys, who said she wasn't wearing makeup anymore and is famously quoted to say, I don't want to cover up anymore. Not my face, not my mind, not my soul, not my thoughts, not my dreams, not my struggles, not my emotional growth, nothing. So you look at Steve Jobs, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Alicia Keys, and you think, okay, these people are successful, maybe they have a point, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Even growing up or just now, you always hear, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, right? Which is sound advice. You really don't know what somebody is going through or what somebody is simply by the way they look. But what's interesting about that saying, not to judge a book by its cover, is the amount of thought and planning that go into actually making a book cover, right? There are photographers, there are stylists, there are editors. There's so much that goes into a book cover to actually make us judge the book based on the cover. Now, while it is sound advice not to judge somebody simply by the way they look, it's just human nature that we do. Fashion and style is often how we present ourselves to the world, and whether we like it or not, we are often judged. But that's besides the point. What if you don't care about what people think, right? Which we say we don't, but a lot of us actually do. We care. We care a little bit. We care a little bit, right? But what if we didn't care at all? How do you feel about what you think about yourself? What do you think about yourself? I've said time and time again that when you look good, you feel good. But I don't think that most of us realize how profound that feeling actually is. There's actually this theory called Enclothed cognition, where these two psychologists did a study about how what you wear relates to how you think, pretty much. So they were just trying to see if what we wear determines how we think. These psychologists did a test where they took a group of people and broke them into 3 different groups. The first group they gave a white lab coat to, told them that it was a doctor's lab coat and to wear it. The second group, they gave them the same exact coat, but they didn't tell them it was a lab coat. They told them it was a painter's coat. And the third group, they gave the same exact lab coat to them, but they told them that it was a lab coat, but they couldn't wear it. They had to lay it in front of them and look at it. They gave all 3 groups this test where they had to look at 3 or 4 different pictures and see the slight differences in each picture and write it down as fast as they could. The first group that had on the doctor's lab coats that wore them did the best, which these psychologists thought showed that they were more focused and they had a heightened sense of attention. That same study, they did the same thing to each group of people: the lab coat, the doctor, the lab coat, the painter's coat, and the lab coat just to look at it. And they had them write an essay about the lab coat. Now remember, it's all the same coat. Each group of people just got different information about this coat. Again, the same group that actually wore the coat did the best on this essay. They had the highest sustained attention. Okay, so you're like, sis, what does this have to do with anything? Well, these psychologists believe when you put a certain label on a certain piece of clothing, you then not necessarily become that thing, but you embody that spirit. So when you assign a certain idea to a certain article of clothing and then you wear that clothing, you have some measurable effects. So, for example, if I'm wearing a leather jacket and every time I see a leather jacket, I think of the coolest person on the planet. I think that I could do no wrong. When I put on that leather jacket, I glide through the world like I'm that coolest person in the world. These people in the study associated intelligence with this lab coat. Therefore, they did better. So again, I say, when you look better, you feel better. Now that statement makes it very simplistic as opposed to the study, but that's pretty much what it is. Style is a way and a chance really to describe who you are or who you would like to be, really, without really saying anything. And in some cases, like the lab coat, it could be your superpower. Okay, so now we know all of this about clothing, how it relates to us, how we're affected by it, why is fashion important for that very reason. Now let's take it back specifically to luxury fashion. So you say, okay, we get it. What you wear makes you feel better, but does it have to be luxury? No, it really doesn't. But what I will say though, is that for me, anyway, I wear a mixture of all types of things, if I'm being honest. This dress, it was like $10 or something like that. I might be exaggerating, maybe 20. And then I have on my Louis Vuitton earrings. I wear a good mix of what makes me feel good. And I will say that there are some luxury pieces that make me feel like I can take over the world. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not a person that believes I have to strictly wear luxury things, but I am a person that believes that they are a little more special, and it gives me a little more pep in my step. So, is the luxury community toxic? I think that's a loaded question because it's kind of a mixed bag. If you are a person like me who I'm not the end all and be all of fashion is luxury for me, I actually enjoy all types of fashion, whether it's street styles, the origin of African fashion, or the European fashion, or even American fashion, Halston. And if you haven't watched Halston on Netflix, you totally should. I'm just a person who enjoys the art and the just the whole presentation of the fashion industry. So if you're a person like me and have an actual appreciation for it, and love labels but don't always have to wear them or buy them, I personally don't think it's toxic. However, I do think that there are those people who know nothing of the industry or don't really care about history of it, or not, and you really don't have to care about the history. You might just like the way it looks, but people that are buying strictly labels, strictly name brands because they want to stunt and they want to look a certain way, yeah, that could be toxic. So the question, is the luxury community toxic? I've actually seen a few videos on this. Is, in my opinion, a mixed bag. You just don't know, and I think it depends on the person, you know? But even as a whole luxury fashion and beauty community, it's nuanced, guys. It's nuanced. Because if you think about it, the makeup community started off as an innocent thing where people loved makeup that just came together and made videos, and then it got very intense, it got very toxic, and it turned ugly. Even the skincare community at this point, because I have my ears and my eyes on everything, right? Even the skincare community at this point has a bit of toxicity, right? I just think that the luxury community in particular is very prominent right now because it's like the cool thing to do, you know, black girls in luxury type of thing. And it's getting a lot of flack for reasons I could definitely understand. But I think that it's not fair and it should be based on person to person. You guys will get everything out of me, from H&M to Louis Vuitton to Fendi. You will get everything from me, from Target to Walmart to hopefully one day Hermes, right? I just love all the fashion. But I will say, if you're a person that's buying just labels because they're labels, I would reevaluate why you are actually buying these labels and what does it really mean to you, what does it say about you, and what really is kind of missing that you feel that you have to insert with these labels, right? So anyway, guys, that's just my part and my little 2 cents into the discussion of, is the luxury community toxic? I would love to know if you agree or disagree. Do you think the community is toxic? Are you just a luxury lover? Do you think that everything has to be luxurious? Okay, I love a good luxurious situation. Don't get me lying here. I love a luxurious meal, whether it's home or out. I love a luxurious, like, tableware. I love 3-ply toilet paper. I love anything that's a little luxurious. I can't lie. That's why I like Chanel makeup and Tom Ford makeup, and I just love something that gives me just a little bit of something, right? But I would just love to know your thoughts. Leave it in the comments. Has it gone too far? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? Are you wishing that this would all go away? Yeah, I want to know what you think. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Oh wait, turn on the bell notifications. And I will see you in my next video.